1 year ago today, Donald Trump surprised the United States with an election victory over Hillary Clinton.
We're going to get to work immediately for the American people. And we're going to be doing a job that hopefully you will be so proud of your president. You'll be so proud. Again, it's my honor. It was an amazing evening. It's been an amazing 2-year period. And I love this country. Thank you. Thank you very much.
President Trump has maintained his campaign promises, shattering the status quo in Washington, and he led the stock market on a record run, the Dow having its strongest first year under this new administration since 1945.
And since my election exactly 1 year ago today, I celebrate with you. The United States is going through something of a miracle itself. Our stock market is at an all-time high. Unemployment is at a 17-year low. We are defeating ISIS. We are strengthening our judiciary, including a brilliant Supreme Court justice, and on and on and on.
ISIS. Joining me right now is presidential historian Doug Wead. Doug, 1 year out, how does the president compare to past administrations? Good morning to you, sir.
Hey, good morning, Maria, Dagan, Mike, Jason. Well, it depends on the yardstick you use, but if you base his presidency on what he promised, he's a rock star. You have to go all the way back to FDR. Most of these presidents get elected on one thing and do the opposite. But he's increased jobs. He's decreased illegal immigration. He's got ISIS on the run. He's draining the swamp. It's pretty amazing. He's turned around the Supreme Court, as he said. So it's decreased regulations. He's on a roll.
His barometer, though, Doug, that he loves to use and loves to talk about is the stock market. All-time highs, day after day, week after week, an incredible run for the markets, which, by the way, Maria Bartiromo called on election night.
She sure did.
But therein lies some danger, because the markets will react to things completely out of the president's control. Is he running a risk doing that, as making markets the kind of the yardstick for his success or not success?
Absolutely, Dagan. It's a high wire act, and you know that the market is going to have correction, and he's not going to want to identify with that. But I can tell you that presidential historians have these fine metrics that they use to measure the presidents, and they're going to use them. You'll hear it all over the networks today, but I have to warn you, they cheat. Because George W. Bush can mark off all those boxes and they don't like him, and John Kennedy can't mark off any of their boxes except maybe great rhetoric that can be inscribed in marble, and they like him, and me too. But it just shows a lot of this is in the eye of the beholder.
Can I just point out, can I just throw to the sound of you on election night, please? Basically telling the American people this is a buying opportunity. This is Maria a year ago.
Amazing.
I would predict to you, Brett, that this ultimately will be a huge buying opportunity, because when you look at both candidates' economic plans, on the Trump side, he wants to lower taxes and roll back regulations. Regulation has been the one barrier for small business and large business, by the way, in terms of growth. Economic growth is the priority. That's what this country needs right now. That's what will be positive for the markets. And I think ultimately people will view this major sell-off tomorrow as a huge buying opportunity because of his policies. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It's like you're pressing.
That's
Better on the back. Better on the back.
Well, you know what I was looking at? I was looking at small business. Remember, every morning we would come in during the election, we were saying, well, what do you think? What do you think? On the weekends, I would see all of these small business when I would go to the beach, and they were just all in on Trump. The small business restaurant had a Trump sign up. The bagel shop had Make America Great hats all over the place because they wanted the tax plan. So I was merely looking at the policies that he was promising in terms of tax plans, which, by the way, Hillary was not.
Yeah.
Hey, that's right.
She wanted to raise taxes.
Doug, hey, Jason Chaffetz here. One of the promises the Republicans made was to repeal and replace Obamacare, as well as doing tax reform. Do you think that's a mock on Congress's scorecard, or where do you look at that in terms of President Trump?
Boy, that's a fascinating discussion, Jason. And I don't think Trump can lose on this. It's just remarkable to me, because if he gets tax reform, stop and think, that didn't happen in year 1 under Reagan. That happened in year 6. People are comparing him to year 6 of Reagan after coming out of a huge victory where he carried every state in the union except Minnesota. And if he doesn't get tax reform, he can say, hey, it's not my fault. It's corrupt. There's a swamp back here. And the Republicans and Democrats both will be blamed for dragging their feet. So if you've got Flake and you've got McCain dragging their feet, they're going to look bad. President's going to come out smelling like a rose. If they go with him, he's going to get his tax reform.
Interesting. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Doug, as a historian, what do your metrics say about the opposition in terms, comparatively speaking, the extent of the opposition to the current administration as opposed to, or compared to the previous?
Yeah, well, the metrics that presidential historians always use for a great presidency are economic growth, impact on the Supreme Court, which Trump has. But they want to know, have you scrambled the executive branch? Have you added a cabinet officer? They want your legislative record, which they'll fault him with. They want to know if you fought and won a popular war like FDR. FDR's the gold standard. But as I said, they cheat. So most of them are on the left, so they're going to be apologists for the opposition who are outside right now.
All right, we'll leave it there. Doug, great to have you on the program this morning. Thanks.
Thanks, Maria.
We'll see you soon. Doug Wead joining us there.